Hey everyone, welcome to Chris's Beer Reviews. Today is Wednesday, December the 4th, and today's review is going to be coming out of the Abita Brewing Company out of Abita Springs, Louisiana, and it's actually a beer that I have yet to try from Abita, and it is their Andygator Hell's Doppelbock. Like I said, I've never tried this particular beer from Abita, but I have tried a few Doppelbocks in the past. And the ones that I've tried, I can't remember offhand what exactly they were, but they were pretty good. Not typically something that I go after. I usually go for darker, heavier beers like IPAs, porters and stouts, etc. But anyway, like I said, it comes out of the Abita Brewing Company, and it is their version of a Doppelbock. And I did a little bit of research on the internet, and I found on Beer Advocate, Beer Advocate gave it a score of an 80, which is a good rating. It comes in at 8% ABV, 25 IBUs, and it says its availability is year-round. Do not know as far as food pairings, but I would probably say it was a safe bet that light dishes like chicken and pasta, etc. would go well with this particular beer. It said that it uses, let's see, 2-row pale malts and German lager yeast and German pearl hops, which I'm not as familiar with the pearl style hops. But like I said, it comes in at 8% ABV. I actually checked it on Rate Beer as well, and Rate Beer gave it a little bit, let me rephrase that, gave it quite a bit lower of a score. They gave it, as far as the style, they gave it a 35 for the style, which is a very low score, but like I've said in the past, Rate Beer tends to score things a lot lower than Beer Advocate. They gave it an overall score of 37. It says it's to be served in a dimpled mug or a stein, and I'm going to be trying this one in actually a goblet. I think that this glass is actually a wine goblet, but I tend to drink beer out of it quite often, and it's actually got a little bit of a curved rim of the glass, similar to a tulip glass. So I've had some pretty good experiences as far as trying beers in this glass. It seems to bring out the aroma and so forth. But anyway, like I said, this thing, it comes in at 8% ABV, so it's semi-high. It's pretty much a beast of a beer as far as ABV is concerned. But anyway, like I said, I do not know what the food pairings would be for this particular beer, but really and truly, who cares? I do drink beer with meals occasionally, but I don't really care as far as pairing goes. I pair occasionally, like darker beers typically would go better with heavier food dishes, and lighter beers go with lighter dishes. I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. So anyway, enough bullshit, guys. Let's open this thing up. Let's pour it up and see what it looks like. I actually bought these a while back, and I've tried one, so this is not as genuine of a review as I'm used to. And but I have yet to review it, so I thought, what the hell, guys, let's review it, see what it's like. Anyway, it's a very very light golden, very translucent, semi-carbonation bubbles coming up from the bottom. Poured a very very thin head, basically just a slight ring around the glass. Kind of a white, off-white color. Kind of I would say it's more of a whiter head, and I wouldn't say off-white. It's a pretty white head, if you want to call it a head. Very thin, no head retention. like I said, I bought this beer a while back, so it's been sitting in my refrigerator for a while. I just haven't reviewed it yet, so it may not be as good as it was when I first bought it. But anyway, let's put a nose on it, guys. Okay, right up front on the nose, I'm picking up a very, very strong aroma of breads. It's very, very malty, very yeasty. It's got a lot of characteristics, notes of, like I said, breads, biscuits. To me, this beer smells like it smells like I guess you could say an upper end, better version of a Pilsner. It's a very light, crisp smelling beer. Not a whole lot right up front as far as the aroma is concerned. Like I said, a lot of the yeast. I'm smelling the lager yeast. I'm smelling a lot of the yeast, a lot of malts. Just kind of a very light, semi floral aroma, but more breads, like buttered breads, biscuits, you know, typical lagers and lager malts and yeast, or lager yeast and malts, I should say. Very typical smelling beer, but not bad smelling for a lighter beer. So anyway, let's take a drink. Let's see what it tastes like. Pretty much the same thing right up front on the taste. I will say it's a very light, very crisp, very refreshing beer. I'm getting a lot of the lager and a lot of the malts right up front. It's similar to a Pilsner. I would say it's similar to a Pilsner, but it's definitely got a little bit more of a bite, a little bit more of a kick to it than a Pilsner. It's actually heavy for a bock style beer. It's a lot heavier than your typical, you know, Amberbock, Shinerbock, etc. But right on the finish. But let me take a drink first. Yeah, right up front, lager yeast. I can definitely taste the pale malts. It's got a slight floral characteristic. It's pretty thick actually for a Doppelbock. It's a lot thicker than the Doppelbocks I've tried in the past. It's very crisp, very refreshing, but it does leave a slight dry stickiness on the palate. It does have a little bit of a hot bite, not much, just very subtle. I wouldn't say it's a bitter beer by no means. It's got just a little bit of bitterness to it. I would say that 25 IBU is about right for this beer. It's not anything overly bitter. It's actually very light, yet it's thick for a Doppelbock. You know, I'm used to thick, you know, for IPAs, but for you know, a Doppelbock or borderline Pilsner, this is a thick beer, guys. It's got a good taste. Getting a lot, like I said, a lot of bready characteristics. You know, buttered bread, biscuits. You know, a lot of malts, a little bit of floral, floral notes, but not anything too much, not overpowering. But a little bit of floralness. It does have a little bit of the hop bite. I've never had a beer that I know of that's used German Pearl hops. Could be wrong. I could have tried one. I'm not remembering anything off the top of my head, but it's something new to me. So, but it does have a little bit of a hop bite. Nothing majorly Nothing to write home about. But as far as the beer style, this is I would say this is a very good example of the style. A little bit stronger than a typical Doppelbock, but a very good example of the style, guys. Like I said, Abita Andygator Hell's Doppelbock. If you see it in stores, guys, pick it up. It's not bad. Definitely something that you could have, a session with. It's very sessionable, very, very, very drinkable beer. Something that you could enjoy after a long, hard day at work. So yeah, I would recommend this one. I would definitely buy this one again. It's not, my favorite by no means. Abita's IPA is probably their best effort. But yeah, I would probably buy this one again. It's like I said, it's got an 8% ABV, but it's very well hidden. I'm not getting any taste of alcohol, no booziness in the taste on the palate or anything. But it is a very strong beer for a lighter beer. It's got a high ABV considering the style. So yeah, 8%, very well hidden, but not bad. This one, I would say if you're gonna have a session with the Andygator Doppelbock, I would say get ready to stay home for the night, guys. It's got a kick to it. The last time I drank it, it was pretty much drink two, call me in the morning. These things will give you a buzz pretty quick, so be careful if you drink these. Don't get out behind the wheel and drive. I definitely wouldn't. I never recommend drinking and driving, but definitely not on something with a higher ABV like this one. Not the highest ABV I've ever had, but for a lighter beer, very high. Take one more last drink, guys. I'm gonna call it a day, and see you on the next review. Cheers, guys. Drink safe, drink responsible, as always.